DeepSeek. The AI revolution is here. The world is going to change.
For better or for worse? I
Uh,
don't know.
I don't know. So basically, the last couple weeks have been all about DeepSeek, right? DeepSeek that, DeepSeek that. It's going to ruin the economy. Stock markets are down.
Hmm.
Sam Altman's upset. Elon Musk is going to the White House asking for more money because of DeepSeek. Maybe, maybe not. Uh, Point being is, it's been all over in the news. And we have a tech channel, kind of. It's a tech enthusiast channel, and we
Hmm.
talk about AI every now and then. So we figured out we'd do some research and we'd tell you everything we know about DeepSeek.
So, what is the research that you did, Zach?
I was going to say,
No,
what's DeepSeek, Dustin?
no. Okay, so DeepSeek is a new AI model that is, I believe it is based out of China, or it's like a China-based company. And it's like GPT. It basically looks like a clone of GPT almost, minus maybe a couple of things here and there. I haven't really played with it extensively. I did download it. Is that okay? Probably going to talk about that later. But it's basically just a new AI model. That's all it is. And what is it? They were able to put out DeepSeek in like a very short span of time with a very little bit of money compared to like GPT and like the Google Gemini, all this other stuff, which is like the crazy thing that's happening.
Yeah. So the big deal is that DeepSeek was done really efficiently based on a number of different like measurements, right?
Mhm.
So the first would be that it was super cheap to develop. I've seen anywhere like $6 to $8 million total to development. I know it was like somewhere under $10 million,
As
which is
compared to
as
like.
compared to like hundreds of millions of dollars and continuous like millions, maybe I don't even billions. Maybe it's been a ton of
Yeah.
of R&D that's gone into ChatGPT, Gemini. I mean, you have to think these huge companies are investing
Hmm.
all this money in there, and then this Chinese company does it for under $10 million.
Hmm.
It is comparable in performance to ChatGPT 4.0. I've even seen some stuff, it's hard to, it's really hard, at least for me. I'm not very, I'm technical, but like, I'm like the tech that I can hook up your computer
Hmm.
to your TV. I'm not the tech that can like run codes and figure out how to automate my life.
Yeah,
I'm
I was
not that.
I was gonna say I feel like that's like the way to test it. Like you can ask GPT or DeepSeek like Google this for me or whatever. Like you can ask it for information and it can spit that out. But I think to really like put it through the test, spit this code out.
Yeah.
I need you to run this script, blah blah blah. Give me this Python, whatever technical stuff. I don't understand it either. We're not the guys to test it. They have
But
other channels for that.
I do have Google, and I did Google it, and it looks like it's comparable. Even some of the stuff that I Googled looked like, based on different metrics,
Hmm.
that maybe it's even a little better or more efficient than ChatGPT 4.0, right? It's also super cheap to run, right? So ChatGPT getting pretty expensive, especially if you're asking it to do a large number of prompts. I'm sorry, DeepSeek super expensive. The whole thing, like the main consumer model is free, but then when you go in and you're asking it to do like millions and millions of tokens,
Hmm.
that does cost, but it's still a fraction. I think it's like a third of what ChatGPT
Yeah.
costs with the same type of performance. But the last thing, and the thing that really turned uh, this whole AI thing on its head and caused the stocks to drop
Hmm.
when they did, is that it's way more energy efficient, which has been a huge problem for AI.
Yeah.
And all of these large companies, Google, Chat or OpenAI, Apple, they've all been trying to develop plans on how do we increase energy output so that we can power all this AI, right?
Hmm.
All of these, every prompt that you send in on ChatGPT, it costs energy to compute that. Well, DeepSeek is way more energy efficient than others. And it caused everyone to freak out because there's been a lot of investment going into large data centers.
Hmm.
Even I think one of the companies, I think Google, you might want to look at this afterwards, but I'm pretty sure Google tried to buy 3 Mile Island, which is a nuclear reactor, that had a had an issue back then. There's
Good
like a whole like,
Lord.
yeah, they tried to buy a nuclear reactor from the United States government to power AI. And now DeepSeek comes out and they're like, actually, guys, you can do the same thing for
Pump the brakes.
a lot less. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I
So that's why there was a big tech stock
yeah.
sell off, because it's like, guys, like obviously you don't need this much money to do it,
Hmm.
and you're getting walloped by a team in China that had limited resources. I guess we haven't even talked about chips yet,
Hmm.
but before we do that, uh, do you think that's is this the new AI revolution? It's cheaper, it's more efficient.
I I don't know. So like one, and don't quote me on this because I don't know which article I read that had this, but I'll give it like a it's like a comparison or something. Basically, like the amount of power that is used or that was needed for like GPT or whatever is like those big data centers, right? That nuclear freaking reactor. And they're like, DeepSeek can run off of a laptop. And I'm like, I don't know how true that is, but that's insane. Like the difference, right? So that revolution of, okay, we figured out a much better way. Like, I don't know. Is it another revolution? Is it too quick to be a revolution for the AI revolution that already was, you know? So we kind of talked about it in previous videos on like, okay, AI is going to come out. Then they're going to probably use AI to make AI better. And then it's just going to trickle down and then really speed up. And I think this is that speed up, right? I think this is that we've hit that point, and it's only been what, a year probably since we've maybe covered it, or maybe half a year, like from whenever we first did GPT and stuff. Um, so I think one, probably my time frame that I, predicted of like maybe 5 years or so. I think it was like AGI or whatever we were talking about. Um, Probably is much lower than 5 years now, because of that speed ramp that it is. Um, I don't know. It could be a revolution. It could just be, I don't know. It's wild, is what it is.
One of the articles that I read, and one of the examples everyone's using is Sputnik. Do you remember what Sputnik is?
Hmm.
So Sputnik's like the first Soviet satellite. It's the first satellite that ever went into orbit. And the United States and the Soviet Union were in the Cold War. It was also, we were both trying to get to space at that time.
Hmm.
And the US thought that they had this thing. Obviously, the Soviet Union's not going to be able to do anything about it. And they launched Sputnik, which was the very first satellite to go into space. And the United States was caught off guard, but then that led the United States to really double down and absolutely kick the Soviet Union's butt when it came to the space race, right? It's actually like the reason we developed or made NASA,
Yeah.
right? So is this our Sputnik AI moment? Is the US going to say, no way, we're going to let a Chinese company develop AI super cheaply that competes with our models,
Hmm.
our private sector models, which technically the Chinese company is private sector. But if you know anything about the politics in China, nothing is really private sector in China.
Hmm.
It's all the government's allowed to go in and grab anything it wants. And we
Yeah.
kind of covered that when we talked about DJI.
Yeah.
So that is a way I could see it going. The other way that I could see this going is that there's some parlor trick going on here.
Hmm. That's what I'm thinking.
It's already starting to float out. They weren't supposed to have access to the NVIDIA A800, uh, whatever, in
Yeah.
order to develop this. And it turns out, they got around the embargo. It turns out they had quite a few of those to develop it.
Hmm.
So I'm wondering, it is true that you can run this off a laptop. You can download it natively, put it on a laptop, and it will run, and you'll be able to use it that way. It is
Hmm.
actually open source too. We didn't talk about that.
Yep.
Very interesting. Open AI. That's why they
Hmm.
started. Let's do open source AI. They stopped doing it because it's maybe a little dangerous.
Hmm.
DeepSeek is open source. But I wonder if it is a little bit of a parlor trick, and it's very good at the types of things, like it almost built for the test, if that makes
Hmm.
sense, and not really built to advance the technology. We can do everything that's been done so far, but can you push beyond that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we should talk about the China of it all. The U.S. government just unbanned. I don't understand the whole thing. TikTok, right? And then we did video months ago about the DJI ban, and it's not banned anymore. And all this was because of the China government, right? They have access to a lot of this data. They can just, hey, I want it. It's mine. Um, DeepSeek is China based. So do they have access to the data that is being funneled into it right now from all the people, me included, that is, funneling information, whether you like it or not, with terms and conditions and all that other stuff. You open yourself up to any of those. You're susceptible to giving out information that you don't know that you're giving out. Um, what's going to happen? Are they farming data? Or what's going on?
I think everyone's farming data. Google's farming data, OpenAI's farming data,
Hmm.
Reddit's taking your data and giving it to OpenAI, and they're selling it back and forth. And that is a huge industry that I don't think a lot of people think about is the selling of your data. It's even
Hmm.
called big data. There's a word for it. The problem with it is that the big data is based with private companies, and like you said, there are terms and conditions, and that's really kind of the law of the land when it
Hmm.
comes to what companies can do with your data, because there's no, in the United States at least, there's no data privacy laws, very restrictive, HIPAA and stuff, which is how
Hmm.
I earn my money. But other than that, other than healthcare data that your insurer has, or goes through your insurance, there isn't much protection for data in the United States. With China or DeepSeek, it's the state.
Hmm.
It's the Chinese government going in and having access to your data, like we said from TikTok, having data, potentially having your data from DJI drones, which is
Land survey,
geographical.
man.
Yeah,
Good
it,
Lord.
and now it has data potentially from DeepSeek, which is essentially like
Hmm.
a Google type situation where most people that use it are using it to help them do projects or
Yeah.
papers
Help him
or
write
cheat
this
on their
essay.
homework, that
Yeah.
type of thing, right? The other part of this that should give you pause, and it also goes with the TikTok of it all, is that the Chinese government could potentially skew the results in favor of the Chinese government and
Mm.
use these tools, these social media tools, or in this case, AI tool, in order to uh, make Americans more favorable to the Chinese government. Run a
Mm.
whole propaganda division or a propaganda project on the United States, which we've already seen with DeepSeek.
Hmm.
Ask DeepSeek if you have it on your phone. Ask it about the Chinese government a little bit. See what you get.
Yeah, that's sketchy because I mean that falls into, and again I don't know that this is accurate whatsoever, but the idea that like for TikTok, like a lot of the content that was funneled to users in China is more like educational or something for kids, but then like a lot of the stuff over here is uh basically just garbage. So if I don't know that that's for real. Don't quote me on that, but the idea of it is a little scary because that way they can do that. But also Google does that too, like in search requests or in like your search bar and stuff. You can search up something. Well, Google's going to put up what it thinks is best. And a lot of times what it thinks is best isn't really what you might be looking for. Um, a lot of people use like DuckDuckGo as a search engine or something. It's kind of just like an unbiased search engine. I don't care one way or the other. I have people that I know that use DuckDuckGo. I just Google it, man. Um, but like all of those results can be skewed in a degree, to a degree, which to me is slightly unsettling that you know it's being funneled to everybody, the populace, and in that sort of way.
Yeah, and there's lots of devious reasons.
Hmm.
They, different companies can do that, right? Like, so Google could be doing it for political reasons,
Hmm.
because the people behind Google and the people behind all these tech, they do have political biases, not really on the same spectrum as normal people. I think it has to do with policies that will help them more rather than like left or right. But they do have political
Policies.
biases, and yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they'll have that, and I do think that skews search results, and
Hmm.
we've seen that with social media, whether you're left or right. You've seen, you can look at Twitter, or you could look at Facebook and what they've done in the past. But the other part of that is the cold hard cheddar
Hmm.
about it all, which is if you skew search results, you can better market products. You can better remind people of things they've been thinking about. We've all seen Google ads, but it goes deeper than Google ads, right? We're Google and other social media and that type of deal. They have a way of snaking you around until you finally make that purchase, or they send your information, the fact that you're googling this product, off to the company that has that product or that service, et cetera, et cetera.
Hmm.
Plenty of ways to use your data. The problem with the Chinese government using it is you can aggregate that data on Americans.
Hmm.
And should there ever be some type of economic or geopolitical issue between the United States and America, you don't want them having the ability to completely uh, control the narrative about
Hmm.
what's going on
Hmm.
in the United States,
Yeah.
or know what people are searching, or know what government employees are using DeepSeek to finish their projects. In
Mm.
which case, like, so it's already been banned. I'm a government employee. It's already been banned in Texas because of that.
Wow.
You can't use it on government devices, which is great. That's the way it should be.
Yep.
But it's tough. The China of it all is the big
Hmm.
deal, and I also think that's why everyone is putting so much attention on it. If it came from like Sweden, we'd be like, "Oh, that's cute. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's like, wow, good job. You guys really accomplished something.
Isn't Sweden awesome?" That's what we
Yeah.
would say, and we'd all clap and we'd go on our way.
Yeah.
The fact that it's China is troubling,
Yeah.
especially going into kind of the economic, geopolitical stuff that we don't want
Hmm.
to talk about on an AI or on a tech channel.
Right.
But that is the big piece of it. Like,
Yeah.
if it came from somewhere else, not a big deal. Because it came from China, it freaks people out just a little bit more, rightly
Yeah.
so.
So, I mean, have you used it?
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. Has it been drastically different from GPT for you? I mean, I know we mentioned it in the beginning, but I'm just curious.
No, I mean, to me, it's just like Chat GPT, but I also, I'm not, I'm not the target user for AI right
Hmm.
now. The things that I want AI to do, it just can't do very well. I don't have papers to write. I don't have Python code to complete.
Yeah.
And so the fun projects that I have, we talked off camera about this. I
Hmm.
was trying to aggregate data, like football data, and do analytics on just different college football stuff for fun. But I have a job and I have this and I do another, I edit. I don't have time to sit down and like be a nerd and
Yeah.
type in all the numbers. I want someone else to do that for me. I try to get AI to do that. I tried it on DeepSeek, tried it on ChatGPT, tried it on Google's whatever,
Gemini, whatever.
tried it on Gemini.
Yeah.
It'll do it. It's like to me, in projects like that, I'm probably doing it wrong. Help me out there if you can help me, if you know how to do it. But to me, it's like a teenager that starts to clean his room, and then after a couple lines of doing it, it'd be like, if here's an example of how to
Hmm.
do what you're trying to do, and here's what I suggest you do, but you do all the manual labor.
Yeah. I chalk it up to it sounds like it's just giving a typical AI answer, and it
Mm-hmm.
hasn't gotten past that AI answer yet. Not fully. It'll probably give a very good answer for what you're trying to put into it or to get out of it, but there still is that AI aspect, as much as they, like to pump up AI as they do, it's still AI, you know. I
Right. It
don't,
it told me how to do what I was trying to ask it to do,
yeah.
but I wanted it to do it.
Hmm.
So that's the difference for me right now with AI. It's very good at providing detailed instructions on how to do something,
Mm-hmm.
it's not necessarily good at doing that thing.
Yeah.
And before you get in the comments and say that's just because they don't know how to use AI, well, if
You're
it was
right.
super good, it
No.
should be super easy as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I was about to say, if you get in the comments and you say we don't know how to use it, you're correct. I don't know how to use
You are, but it's also like you can't say how something's so amazing and then on the other hand
Yeah.
say, well, you need like basically a 4-year degree to be able to do basic things that'll change your life. Like,
Well, you
well, then it
didn't
must.
tell GPT or DeepSeek to become a world-class analyst and then analyze these other things before you asked it to analyze these things. Yeah.
Pretend like limits don't
Yeah.
exist and then pretend like you are a
Yeah.
data scientist. Like, no, just if I ask you a question, just do it.
Answer it. Like, if I ask you a question, I assume that you are a professional at whatever your AI. Come on.
Yeah, imagine if you had to go to like an online course on how to ask your doctor about something.
Yeah.
You know, that I feel
Yeah.
like that's how AI is. Like, no, you have to go learn how to do prompt. You have to learn how to prompt it. I thought,
Oh,
why it's supposed to. Anyways, not
yeah.
to get. Maybe that's another.
That's a
Maybe
whole
that's it.
other.
We'll just talk about AI prompts one day and how ridiculous AI prompts are.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's not this video.
Yeah. So let us know down below the video in the comments what you think. DeepSeek, do you have it? Do you not have it? Is it like such a privacy risk that this isn't happening? China's not getting my information. Let us know.
Oh, on that, you could
Oh,
run it locally on your computer and they wouldn't be able to get your information
oh
though, right?
maybe.
Hey, if you like this, like and comment as well. Maybe consider subscribing. We'd love to
Hmm.
get to 1,000 this year.
That'd be tight.
Peace.
See ya.